We're live.
Yeah, we are.
So, you didn't tell me why you asked about what I would say if somebody asked me for that particular tattoo.
I did. I said because I was basically getting a second opinion.
Yeah, but I didn't know what the first opinion was. I didn't have any. I don't know. I didn't have any
Well,
ground in it. For me, it's a
so
little bit different than any other tattoo artist because I've been doing it a long time and
right.
uh, I've been a custom artist for so long that I approach things trying to make them more personal. But
Uh-huh.
other than that, like I wouldn't tell somebody not to get something.
Well, the gentleman that we went to last time, Rhonda liked, all right, and so she asked him about it. Now, last time he said he doesn't really like fine line work. He doesn't know if he's the guy for that. He's
All
very
right.
honest about that, which I appreciate.
No, yeah, and you can't blame somebody for being honest about that.
Right.
The thing that I've got a problem with that is that it's not about fine lines; it's about lines that last.
Okay.
You remember what my answer was about how it might have to be enlarged for that to happen?
Yeah, which isn't a big issue.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is the reason that it has to be enlarged is because, all right, so what is called fine line really has a tendency to fade away. It gets so fine that it has a tendency to fade off or blur. So when you do something like a fingerprint, if it's too tight, if it's too small, not only are you not going to get all of those details, but those lines will spread into each other over time or fade away, one or the other.
Well,
If you do it at the right pace and they start fading,
yeah,
then you can go in between those lines and put white. But if it's too close, you can't really do that.
I mean, again, it was supposed to be a B, and if you think about the size of a B, I'm pretty certain my wife had already figured out that she wanted something more, about, I would say, 3 inches wide.
Okay, so that should be plenty.
And, she wasn't like, it doesn't need to be where, if the boys were kidnapped, that they could use the tattoo as
right
reference material for a thumbprint. It wasn't quite like, but it's supposed to be something that, if you know that it's the boys' thumbprints, then, it's about the boys.
Right.
But, I don't know.
Well, I was just wondering because most people that ask me tattoo questions like that, they're kind of loaded questions. They've already got an answer and they want to see if I will answer similar or whatever. And
some do, yeah, that's true.
Everyone's different, and I think it's commendable for him to say, yeah, that's not my area of expertise.
Yeah,
it's not my area of expertise either. I don't like a whole lot of small line work because lines don't traditionally stay. I know people that argue the fact, but I've seen it over time and I've watched over time to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I say they don't stay, I'm talking from experience and watching for that. You'll see if you got anything that's outlined, you'll see over time, over 10 years, 15 years or whatever, that they will fade. It's a natural part of your body because your skin completely renews itself over the course of 7 years.
Yeah.
What we're doing when we're tattooing you, believe it or not, is dyeing the nucleus of the cells, kind of reprogramming them. But it wears off, so it's a copy of a copy every time the skin renews itself.
Yeah.
It's just kind of trying to help you get an idea of what to expect.
Okay.
Like, for me, as far as tattooing somebody, I like to have them as informed as they can be before I do something on them. That way they don't feel later on that I withheld something from them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sounds like, oh, that should be pretty obvious, but people are people.
Yeah.
So I like to inform them if a tattoo that they're choosing is not very unique.
Yeah.
No, I don't advise what anybody should get. I'm never going to look at you and go, no, don't do that. I did that when I was younger. I did, oh, that's a stupid idea, or I can't do that because it wasn't because it was a stupid idea, but it was because it was not as well represented as it could have been.
Yeah.
And I came to learn that there are reasons for that too. I turned one person down that brought me a drawing that they wanted it exact to that drawing, and it would have been really, really hard for me to get it exact to that drawing. It was underneath my quality, and I don't know if I could have resisted bettering it, trying to make it better. So I turned them down, telling them that I couldn't do it the way that they wanted me to do it. And then later on found out that the reason they wanted it that way was because it was something their child drew before he died. So that was a very humbling experience. And I swore to myself not to make judgment calls like that ever again. Also, I see a whole lot of younger guys in the industry will see something and go, oh, I can do that better and blah, blah, blah. The problem with that is that you can't always do it better because you're not, you're thinking that you can draw better than that or whatever, but what you're not thinking about is how that client's skin takes, how it heals, what happens when it heals, because you don't have any of that information. All you just have is what you're looking at, right?
Right.
And that really, really gives some flawed ideas, because if you're only judging by what you're seeing, you're not making a judgment based on the knowledge that, unlike canvas or unlike paper, skin heals and it changes. You can lose weight or gain weight and literally change the location of your tattoo.
Yeah.
People don't think about that. That's the job of the tattoo artist, because when you have enough experience, and that's one of the main differences between an experienced tattoo artist and a novice, or an apprentice, or someone that's very new to it, is that once you've got the experience to see that stuff, you take things into account that most people don't. you're trying to plan for the future and how that tattoo is going to look in a few years. Like when I started, there was a big thing about free touch-ups until they got tired of touching up the same tattoo for free and they couldn't afford it anymore because you don't know how a person's going to heal and if they're going to need a touch-up or they're going to need a recolor, or how they treat it while they're healing, because that's another thing that tattoos differ from than any other art form is that if I'm painting this canvas and I walk away, the canvas is not going to itch and scratch at what I just painted. They're not going to pick at stuff. Their dog's not going to lick it. You know what I mean? There's
yeah.
So there's so many different factors. I used to tell people when you get tattooed, the first thing that happens when you get tattooed is you learn how often you bump a spot. Like,
yeah.
You never thought you'd hit that area so many times until it's wounded. And it doesn't change. It's the same thing. It's kind of like women getting pregnant. They forget all the sucky shit for a little while when they want another baby, until they get pregnant again. They're like, "What the hell did I want to do this for?" You forget that you don't necessarily see or know what's going to happen with that area. Some areas, like the insides of your forearms or the outsides of your calves and stuff like that, are going to literally get bumped and scratched. And more often, because those are places like you're picking up stuff, you're going to grab it, and it's going to have a tendency to lean on or roll onto your forearm. You're walking through anything that's not just a path. If you're walking through, like bushes or like a forest path or whatever, if it's going to scratch you, it's going to scratch you on the outside of your leg. Dogs will rub against your legs, cats will rub against your legs, and their hair is not only porous, they often shed. So whatever's in the air can get into that wound. Without you even thinking about it, really. Those are the things that tattoo artists need to think about, I'm sure it's like that with every profession, that everybody's got something.
I have a feeling I'm going to get sick right before fall break. And then I will be sick all through fall break, and then be able to come back to work.
I'm going to say it sounds like you're catching cold.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much in the same boat. There's something going on. You ever read Dracula?
Yeah.
I'm just getting through with that. interesting. The language.
Okay.
Well, like Orson Scott Card was saying, that when you're reading like Wuthering Heights or any of those, that they wrote was not, could not you, would not you, whatever, when they actually meant can't you, don't you,
Yeah.
because they spoke in conjunctions, but they didn't have a way to write them yet.
Okay.
They didn't have a way to write the conjunctions, a uniform way to write the conjunctions. That's what Orson Scott Card is saying. And
Well, they didn't have a lot of I mean, even spelling was not exactly unified.
well, I know, but
So,
so it's interesting to see them, to see was not, could not, when they really would be saying couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't.
I've always chalked that up to formality.
Well, so I'm listening to the book instead of reading the book
Yeah.
because it's got a pretty big cast, and I bought it because Tim Curry is in the cast.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
I'm pretty sure he is doing Van Helsing.
Huh.
But as you know, Van Helsing speaks in other people's diaries.
John?
Like there's several diaries going on telling the story. So the readers, each one of the readers are doing one of the diaries.
Okay.
So like you'll have there's a woman that's doing Nina's, there's a woman that's doing Lucy's. But if they have Van Helsing or Quincy Morris, the actor that's reading that section will read that section. Like they're doing Nina's imitation of Quincy or Nina's imitation of the Doctor. So it's interesting that way too. Oh, it's an exciting show. There's nobody watching.
What?
I said that it's an exciting show. There's nobody watching.
Oh. Well, you know, on one hand, this is a bit like watching paint dry.
Well, I thought it was more like watching paint applied.
Well, it is. It is paint applied, but then it dries. So.
But paint drying doesn't really normally talk to you. If so, then you might not. You might have a whole different issue.
Oh. 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 Yeah, Sunday was the first. No, Monday. Last night. Yeah. Last night was the first night we turned on the heat. And my wife wasn't going to do it. She was like,
We had the cable already. I had the cable already. I'm on blood thinner, so.
I was like, I want to make sure the heater's going to work. Because, the first time you turn on a furnace, half the time, I swear, that's when it's going to not work. After it's sat around for all summer long. So before it gets too cold, I thought, perhaps we should make sure it works. And my wife even said, all right, because I said it yesterday morning. And she goes, all right, tonight when we get home, we'll turn it on. So when she got home, we were already all home. And I went over and I turned it on. And then she's like, oh, we're just going to turn the heat on? I'm like, that's literally what we discussed this morning. You said, wait until we get home, or until we're all home tonight, because she didn't want it running at, the first time. She didn't want it running when nobody was home in case something goes wrong. And all right, that's cool, fine, whatever. I don't need to heat the house when only the dog and the cats are home.
Right.
We're not going to freeze pipes right now. I don't care. But then she gave me grief. And then later on, she's like, thank you for turning on the heat, because I never would have. And I was like, why do we have it if not to be more comfortable? Like, and it's not like I set it on very high. Like, I set it at like 66 or 68, somewhere around there. I was like, but like in the morning, yesterday morning, my house, the thermostat read that it was in the 50s. And I thought, that's kind of chilly.
State law here says any public building has to be at least 69.
Well, that's ridiculous.
68, something like that.
That's okay.
Well,
that just seems, I don't know. Sounds like you're going to have hot buildings. Not that 68 degrees is hot.
I don't think 68 and 69 is hot.
Well, I don't think it's hot.
When I get to 73, I start getting pretty warm.
Yeah. And, if it's a public building, that means bodies are in there. And once you get
that also means a lot more space generally.
True. I don't like that.
Well, you were saying how cold it was, and I was saying in relation.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I just don't like that. I don't mind me controlling my thermostat. I worry about other people controlling my thermostat. The state, the electric company, whatever.
Well, that's not the same thing, because you're talking about a private residence versus public.
I know, place. I get it.
But you were saying that it gets cold at a certain level anyway for you, and I think that's more to the point of why.
I'm also a good, Hoosier. We get winter, but
dude, I'm in Maine.
What do you mean you don't get winter in Maine?
That's not what I said. I said I'm in Maine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure you get it colder. Well, it's like, I can still remember I was little. We had family in New Hampshire, and we went and visited. And I don't think I was old enough to even be in school yet. And we went to the beach in the middle of summer, and they were selling hot chocolate on the beach. And I thought that was weird.
Where?
Until I got in the water, and then I understood why they were selling hot chocolate on the beach in the middle of summer. So made perfect sense at that point. But
where?
New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire gets pretty fucking cold.
Yeah, it does.
There's you ever been to the ice castles in New Hampshire?
Nope.
We went one year. Our anniversary is February 1st, and we went for pretty much our anniversary. And it was like, so they make these castles out of ice.
Huh.
Um,
Never would have guessed.
well, yeah, but like, so it's really layered in,
Okay.
and you're really dealing with a lot of ice. And when we went, it was so cold that our heater wasn't. It stopped. Our heater wasn't. It just stopped. The heater could not generate enough to do anything. I mean, you feel the heat, but it didn't penetrate anything. Of course, we were going through the White Mountains and all that, but yeah, the elevation and just everything put together, it was so cold. But it was so cold that little kids that had gone to this event were inside those castles bawling. It was so cold that it was hurting those kids. Yeah, that was. It's been cold here, and it's snowed here. Like, I've got pictures of it snowing up. Like, we had a pile so high of snow that it outdid our roadside sign,
Yeah.
which is probably 15, 20 feet high. And that was like in March or April. But we get a lot of snow, but it wasn't anywhere near as cold as it was in New Hampshire. Yeah, I was quite surprised to hear kids crying. Like, wow. It was so bad, those kids were bawling.
Well, when it gets cold enough, it hurts.
Yes, sir. And that's exactly what was going on with them. Yeah, it was quite the trip. And we do like to go through those mountains, and that's some crazy stuff when it's snowing. Because sometimes it's like you're driving through a tunnel or a crevice, really. Because you can see the sky, but you can't really see anything else. The road and the sky, and that's maybe not even the road sometimes. So Mark said he got some writing done.
Oh, yeah, did he?
Well, he still like a paragraph, but that's more than he's been able to put out in, I'm going to guess, a better part of a year, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, I like seeing it. I like hearing the fact that he's been able to put a little bit more out there. We pretty much play Wordle every night, so
Oh yeah.
It's like the only thing he has time to do, so we'll do Wordle and exchange results, and it's not like a competition or anything, but we'll support each other.
Ugh. Oh. Ugh.
That would be snacks happening.
Okay. I don't know why. Not that I'm complaining, because I'm not, but my wife ordered me almost 5 pounds of gummy bears. And they're like the best gummy bears ever. They're Albanese and Ultimate Albanese. And they're made in Indiana. And they are amazing. My absolute favorite gummy bears. And I love gummy bears.
Couldn't tell.
Oh. Well, so a while ago I discovered these. And the regular ones come in 12 flavors. Cherry, strawberry, mango, pineapple, lemon, orange, green apple, watermelon, pink grapefruit, lime, blue raspberry, and grape. Okay. And then, which by the way, those flavors are phenomenal. Then they came out with the Ultimates. And there are only 8 flavors. But it's Alfonso Mango, Asian Pear, Black Currant, Blood Orange, Crimson Cranberry, Fuji Apple, Queen Pineapple, and Rubus Raspberry or Rubus? I don't even know what that is. I don't care. It's delicious. And oh, I love them. Love them, love them, love them. They have such a strong flavor. They're not too tough. Just probably my favorite candy.
And I'll have you know that they would be safe when around me.
What was that?
That was my phone. And somebody called Scam Lakely. Because anybody that would be calling me wouldn't be calling me at this time.
Oh.
Unless it was Joe.
Where's the link?
Huh?
That's Joe asking for the link.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, he said he's working. I asked him.
Oh.
Yeah, I asked him if he was going to have any time because they keep calling him in on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, I'm not going to do it anymore. This is the last time. And then I'm like, so you... like, so you want to win? And they called me in.
Well, sometimes they call.
Like,
It's hard to say no.
I've had him say no one time. They're like, he's like, they tried to call me in, but I already gave my word.
Oh.
Like I said, you know, what I really care about is that he's doing well and he's getting what he needs, you know.
Yeah.
And if that takes going in on Saturdays and not hanging out with me, then I wish him well.
Oh. So, today was the PSAT, and I don't know why, but we gave it to all the freshmen and all the sophomores and any of the juniors that wanted to take it. And we told everyone else, so most of the juniors and pretty much all the seniors, go do a college visit day, go do job shadowing. But if you come to school, we're going to put you in the cafeteria and you're going to sit there all day. So, you know, go do something else, basically.
Right.
So, you know, basically I have half the school there, and that's it. And it takes all of the morning to take this test. And then we have the afternoon. And one of my afternoon classes is freshman, so I had a full class then. But, like, my two AP classes had a combined total of, I think, 4 people. And a coworker was asking if they were going to cancel tutoring. In fact, she said, we should cancel tutoring for today. And I was like, are you crazy? No one's going to be there. Don't cancel it. It's the easiest money ever. Like, I will tutor no one and get paid. I'm okay with that. Because there are other nights where it's like, there are 5 teachers and, 65 kids, and some of them are there to actually get work done, and those are the ones you work with. But there are other ones you're there that you're basically just babysitting because they're not doing anything at all other than talking and playing on their phone. So, you just got to make sure they don't get too rowdy so the ones who actually need to be there can get their stuff done. But there are definitely nights you work harder than others, and I'm like, let this be one of those nights where you don't have to do much. Like, nothing wrong with that. So, I stayed. I got paid. I'm happy. A lot of that stuff is just like, I don't know, like, I knew this morning there would probably be no one at tutoring before school on a day where nothing is due, right? Because there aren't going to be any assignments when half your class is gone. So I decided not to go in and do tutoring in the morning because I wanted to sleep. And I was right. There were a couple teachers there, and they're just. But I was like, it ain't worth it. Like, I need to sleep.
Watching paint dry.
What?
I turned the fan down onto the paint so that the paint can dry.
Oh, okay. Couldn't see the fan.
No, it's above the camera view. Anytime I reach like this, that's probably what I'm doing. Is either messing with that or adjusting the painting. So let's see. Should look a little bit more like the sky now. A little bit. Only really want to indicate some stuff on the bottom to have that idea. And I'm going to put a lighter layer up here to mimic this a little. But that's so far off really in the distance that the mountains will be blocking it, so I'm fudging it a little. So I'm really kind of liking the tones I'm getting out of the brown on here, so that's why you notice I haven't gone in and tried to put any other colors on it right now. What I think I'm going to do is build up that brown and build up that brown, and then maybe do, it's really not called a wash when you do it with a lighter color, but I want to put like a wash, not a glaze, of a little bit of orange tone to her skin, maybe a peach, a little bit more on the orange side. So it's definitely getting closer.
Yeah.
I got to do the light section in the water here pretty soon, so that I can tape up and do the sword. But I'm actually been considering reshaping the sword because there's an interesting shape I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
And I might end up going that route. So yeah, I've had a kind of breakthrough on my story too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit. I got that which I was worried about sounding very info dumpy.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's not really info dumpy. It's just I want it to sound natural. Really, I guess is what it is. I don't want you to read through it and go, "Oh yeah, that's a place that he just wanted to throw some information in." You know?
Okay.
But I've gone past that, you know, and started working towards the rest of the story. But I think my problem is, did you watch that link that I put in Slack? I put 2 Jim Butcher links in Slack.
Oh. I don't believe I saw those.
Well, he talks about having a problem of not keeping it simple.
Yeah, okay. No, I did not watch those.
Well, one's just a short story, like he's telling a story. Something that happened to him on a trip. That's the thing that both Jake and Mark comment on.
Huh. I'll have to watch them later.
Well, the other one is him at a con, but he's answering questions, and some of it he's talking about his work methods. And he's talking about he works under he outlines. So that's one thing I should probably say right off the bat. But he's talking about the keep it simple theory that a lot of writers that don't plot and do a lot of thinking and plotting before they start writing. He's like,
yeah,
a lot of the problems that I noticed that come up, and this is paraphrasing, you're going to find it's different when he says it, but
okay.
Is that we tend to overcomplicate stuff. Like we get to a spot, and instead of just finishing what we're supposed to be doing, we complicate it.
Okay.
And I have to say, I'm guilty. And that's what's going on right now. It's like you made a comment like, oh, that was too easy, but that wasn't supposed to be difficult. It was supposed to be part of something else. You were talking about the frost giant. And so in my mind, I was like, oh, I got to make it tougher because you said that was too easy. But I really, the frost giant wasn't really supposed to be difficult. It had a task to do. That was it. It was there for one purpose and one purpose only. And the only difficulty in it was that it had help, or guards, or whatever you want to say. But because of that, because of your comment on that,
yeah,
I made the next part way more difficult than I wanted to make it.
Sorry.
Because I wasn't intending, like I said, I was intending to have something happen and then it go into something else. And as a result, that going into something else didn't happen. But it's not as easy as it was. But it did lead me to a different sidetrack, and that's the thing. Like I was saying, that he's talking about that we tend to make things too difficult. If I'd have stuck with what my original game plan was, the original game plan was to actually get it over in 10,000 words. Now I'm approaching 10,000 words, and I still haven't gotten where I wanted to get. In the first place, to have the big complication that I was planning on having. So the big complication is not going to be able to happen, or at least not as a short story or a novelette. Because even though I did add more complications and it got more difficult,
Yeah.
I like it and I don't want to get rid of it. And that's the other problem, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily our darlings, but like we're trying to, I don't know, make things a little bit more difficult. I mean, you'll find that you do stuff, or sometimes you do stuff that works too well, and you like it better than the original plan, or whatever. And that's kind of where I was. But yeah, so the complication got a little bit more complicated, and then it changed the storyline, but it gave the antagonist, which is arguably the protagonist, in that James Bond sort of argument that we had.
Right.
They have a goal. They're looking to do something.
Uh-huh.
A better reason to be there. A better reason to be doing that. And now I've got a whole bunch of figuring out to do that I didn't have before. It's probably similar to what you just went through. And I finished reading that book. I gave it, well, I would honestly give it a half star, but didn't have that option, so I went with a full star because I like the guy.
Okay.
I mean, I like him as a person, I like him as... It's not that he... So, he makes King Alfred a lot more sensitive than I think would really have naturally been the case in that time period. Because when you live in a time period where there's 5 kingdoms, and their 5 kingdoms pretty much are at each other and raid each other and blah, blah, blah. And then you have Vikings coming across and raiding and invading and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't think that you could be very weak, you're not going to be really sensitive over stuff that people born in peacetime might be more sensitive about. Is that putting it delicately enough? Because I don't really
Okay.
want to give it a bad review because it's worth the read if anybody wants to read it. Um, I would recommend, but he's writing in the same vein as Bernard Cornwell in the Uhtred books, the Last Kingdom books, and Bernard Cornwell doesn't make Uhtred very sensitive type. So I enjoyed the more adventurous aspect. However, what he had to work with was a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
Because so Cornwell was writing about Uhtred and involving him in King Arthur's situations. But
Okay.
this guy is trying to write Arthur. Or not Arthur, Alfred. I guess starts with A's and screwing my head up today.
Understandable.
So Alfred was really pious. He was wounded and he was ill, but they're talking about the illness that plagued him could have been anything from Crohn's disease and to irritable bowel syndrome and the like. Hello, Chad.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, look who it is. How's it going?
Not too bad. Hanging in there.
That helps.
Yeah, so he was, he and I guess remember when I was talking about the historical fiction lately has had a tendency to put modern politics in the stories,
Right.
or modern thinking, like the whole women's rights thing in a medieval or prior to medieval story is kind of ridiculous. So he avoided a lot of that in this story, which is a good thing, but he also made I guess the downside is like Alfred cried in every chapter but two. Like he'd cry if he was happy, he'd cry if he was sad, he'd cry if he was in pain.
Didn't Dave Orton write about it was either Dave or Orson Scott Card about how you shouldn't let your character cry, because if the character cries, the viewer doesn't have to, or the reader doesn't have to.
Right, it gives him release. But
Yeah.
like the crying that he's talking about is like crying because his little baby girl is running around, and crying because he is suffering from whatever thing he's suffering from, and crying because his men are dying on the battlefield and he is frustrated and can't help them, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, it amounts to crying. And I don't believe in the time when Vikings are literally massacring people and other people. You don't have one solid country because you have 5 different, basically kingdom states that are fighting each other over pretty much everything. I don't think there was a lot of emotion like that. I think that they were a tougher breed of people. They had to be a tougher breed of people. You're talking in like the latter half of the 9th century. You know what I mean? There's like you like women are dying giving childbirth, and I just think if you can handle that, you're and you have to handle that because it's common, and you're being invaded and everybody's being, either hurt or killed in some aspect, or everybody that you don't know somebody that hasn't had to either pay off these Vikings or have loss of life, loss of goods, loss of whatever to these Vikings. Not to mention raiding parties from other kingdom states. I don't think you're going to be like very sensitive to a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you'd be a little hardened, I think.
And like, I'm not even trying to knock. Like, he's trying to make him a human guy, a human person, human, whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So like, I'm not trying to knock it, but it's kind of a downfall for me because it's hard for me to buy that. It's hard for me to believe it.
And that's, one of the three grunts, right?
Right. And it's the historically part. Now, if you took that same story and made it about someone other than a well-known historical figure, and you made them a sensitive type or whatever, then I wouldn't have the same problems because I wouldn't have knowledge into that time, that place, there, whatever, their milieu. I would only have what you gave me. But I do have a bit of knowledge on that, and I have seen some of the bloody shit that happens. In 1066, and this is 250 years later, right? In 1066, when William the Conqueror comes over, the people that he defeated, that he felt betrayed them, he cut their ears off, he cut their noses off, he cut their tongues out, and he cut their hands off, and he let them live. So that they were walking abominations, and they only survived on somebody else's pity.
Lovely.
Are you going to tell me that he spent time crying over the people that died next to him on the battlefield? I mean, I can't imagine that kind of stuff. And this is prior to that, when things were. William the Conqueror is basically Norman, which is the French Vikings.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just that's why it's hard for me to swallow, because I literally know, reading accounts of how William the Conqueror and other countries and other leaders 250 years in a more civilized time are doing some real huge atrocities to people. Right?
Right.
And then I read this stuff, and he's a very sensitive guy. And I think that, like, one of the things that he had to overcome was that a lot of the older records, I haven't read Alfred's account, but I've read enough older records to know that a lot of the older stuff, like the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles, they would have a year, and so-and-so was anointed king in this year. So-and-so became bishop in this year. They had one year they were saying there was lights over I want to say Northumbria that looked like dragon's fire. So I mean, it's recorded there, and also if you're taking into account that the Anglo-Saxon chronicles are actually chronicled by priests. So the information that he had was what Alfred had gotten together or written down, or what was translated from it. And other sources like the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. So it was really, really limited. So he's got a list of battles, and he knows that Alfred married I can't even remember her name. He knows that Alfred got married. He knows that Alfred had a daughter. His brother died, and like his older brothers and his father, his mother, like all of his family died. And he was sickly and all that, and he's got the invasions of the Vikings that he's trying to fight against. He was very, very Christian, even though he regularly slept around on his wife. He also prayed about it and felt that he was being punished for it, all that. So he didn't have a whole lot of detail what happened in between battle to battle. There was this year, that year, this summer, this spring. Who the major people were, probably not even the miners, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had to make a story that encompassed all that. So what's Alfred doing when he's literally not fighting battles? So he had to come up with something. And so he explored, family life or whatever, but I don't think he explored family life as family life in 850 or whatever the year is, right? He just tried to put in some of what it means to be a family man nowadays. And maybe that was an attempt to make the character more relatable, or because he knew no other way, or because he wanted to have more sensitive version. So it's hard to fault him too much because there wasn't a lot of information to go off of. And I wonder if there wasn't more information available on other nobles of that time.
Okay.
To get an idea of what normal nobility life was like. Because it really just sounds like a lot of partying, fighting, and And I'm sure there was more to do than fight, fucking drink. But that's a lot of what's really taking place. I mean, there's some, like he's talking about them building a library, but there's a lot less in the building of the library or the acquiring of books or the even study of certain books, or which books were more interesting, you know what I mean? Right. Like, I don't know if there's a lot of information about that, but he didn't explore it either, Like, I think he explored one particular book, and that was a translation of a Viking saga. So he has an exchange between himself and a couple of Vikings. Overall, I think it ended in a good enough way where you sympathize with Alfred and you want to know, you want to see him get the Empire. You know what I mean? You want to see him defeat the bad guys, because it actually ends much more like The Empire Strikes Back than Star Wars. You know what I mean? It ends like at a very low note for Alfred, and it's a trilogy, so I don't know if that says anything particular about it. But there's a lot of good stuff in it. He is a Scot, the writer, and you can tell there are certain ways he phrases stuff, certain uses of the language that you can almost tell Scottish, but you know it's in that area anyway, right?
Okay.
This is not enough. I need to get an in-between size brush I don't have. Or maybe I do, but it's just really long. So you probably would. It'd be a quick read for you because you read fast anyway. I've read some of his work before, and I support buying his work because I like him and I want to see him succeed. I think that should be enough of a reason, right?
Yeah.
But he does have a, he can elicit enough emotion for you to want to get mad at the people who betray Alfred, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's good. That's what you want to do as a writer, right? And have the reader invest enough to What's that? What's up with Chad?
I don't know a hell of a lot. Checking out some stuff on Amazon at the moment. So, is this a commission piece, by the way, or just for fun? Yeah, it's wow. I don't think I've quite seen you go that quite in depth with a piece like that before. That's wow.
You didn't see the last one?
I did, and I'm talking about the actual physical depth that I see on the canvas. Is like I literally feel like I'm standing right in front of that and just looking down these two canyon walls, and that's what I see. Wow.
Well, that's good. Thanks.
It reminds me of an album cover. I just can't place it.
That's the second time I've heard something like that.
Really? Well,
somebody else was talking about an album cover. What were they talking about? You remember, Brett? Rush, right?
Yeah, I think they said it reminded them of a Rush cover, which
I could
because then we
I
talked
could
about
kind of go with that.
Hugh saw him in his work, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. Looking for gear on Amazon is like a crapshoot.
Looking for
Looking for
gear on
gear?
Amazon?
Yeah, like range gear, survival gear, stuff like that.
Wow.
It's like, find a decent holster for going to the range or whatever, or concealed carry. It just looks like a bunch of airsoft shit.
Well, considering it's owned by someone that's pretty much a supporter of anti-gun, that's not really surprising.
Didn't really think of it that way, but yeah, I can mention it.
Hate to have you think of it that way.
No, hey, it's a good point.
It's the same thing as Dick's Sporting Goods doing away with AR-15s.
Oh yeah, and Walmart. Yeah,
way
Walmart.
before there was any need to.
Yeah,
But
just like Walmart.
Dick's
Now all
actually.
Now all you can get is a lever action or a shotgun or something like that.
They sell rifles too, but I don't know about Dick's,
Yeah,
but because I don't support
Either lever action or bolt action.
I don't support Dick's at all because Dick's literally funds anti-2A.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give them my money to, take away my rights.
Yeah, exactly. Totally get that.
That is something I have no interest in supporting.
Rightfully so.
Like, so if somebody doesn't want to own a gun, doesn't want to worry about be responsible with a gun, I understand that too, and I support that. You make
Fair
your own
enough.
decision. You make your own decision. I'm not gonna.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna criticize or be against somebody for what their own personal choices are.
Yeah. Well, I liken it to what somebody told me about riding a motorcycle. Like if you're, somebody once told me if you're scared to get on that motorcycle, or you're scared of the motorcycle, don't get on the fucking thing. Like legit. So if you're scared of guns or you don't like guns for whatever reason, don't get one. Nothing wrong with that.
You gotta start somewhere if you want to, and the thing is that if you want to, I support whatever you want to do, but I don't support whatever you want to do for me. I don't support because I support you not having to have something or whatever. I don't support that you make that decision for me.
Yeah, I reserve the right to judge for myself.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. I know someone that I tattooed that went into this with me, and he doesn't have the right to own one because he has an issue that prevents him from owning one. But even if he didn't have that issue, he wouldn't want to own one, right? And I said that's fine. And if you know that it would be a bad idea for you to have a gun in your hands, then it's very respectable for you to say you don't want to put a gun in my hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But don't tell me that I shouldn't have a gun in my hands because you shouldn't have a gun in your hands.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, like I don't really much use my guns. They're here.
I go to the range.
They're in working order. Yeah, I
About it.
haven't had really much way to get to a range or a range to go to for a while. We talked about that. Me and Amanda talked about that fairly recently, but
Yeah. Yeah, that place that you came to the vow renewal out there in Buckfield.
yeah,
That's where the range that I go to is. It's out on that property, way out back in the woods. For me, it's only about a 20-minute, half-hour drive, but you live in Bath, so
yeah. It's a half hour just to get there.
yeah. So then another
Like
half
get
hour.
there.
Then another about half hour, 20 minutes to Buckfield. So that would be at the very least a 2-hour trip for you.
Yeah, well, we've never had a problem with making long trips,
True.
but we just don't have the time and the money. Actually, ammo's crazy.
Yeah, tell me about it. I just ran out of 5.56, and looking at the price is going to fuck my life.
I can imagine that's pretty expensive.
Yeah. But just an incentive to save up a little bit. I want to buy a ammo case, about 1,000 rounds, which coincidentally is close to $1,000. But the best price I've gotten so far was like 800.
Well, the best price I've gotten is somebody gifted me 1,000 rounds.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Was
I feel the same way.
9 mil?
Yep.
Yep.
That was a while ago.
I wouldn't be complaining.
We still have a good chunk of them left.
That'd give me plenty around 9 mil for a while.
And most of the stuff I have is a larger caliber, so.
Yeah, mine too. I got a good supply of little 22 blinker, but
I
9
want to get
mil.
one, really. That's one of the things that I've been really wanting to get. A little, like, birdie or something.
Yeah, I got a little 22 Heritage Arms, 22 cowboy gun. It looks like it's a reproduction of a single army action. Sorry, single action army.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, peacemaker.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah. Nice
That's
little
kind of the Uberti I was looking at, and basically that's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, a copy of a Uberti. Yep.
Well, Uberti is a copy of that. It's like the modern.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, Uberti is an Italian copy of the Colt. They have that. They have a safety built in them. Believe it or not, on the revolver.
Mine does too. Has a little Satan. Normally, where the cylinder release would be, that's actually a safety on it. all it does is it rotates up a little cam that blocks the hammer from dropping all the way.
You know the ejection thing?
Yeah.
When the Uberties come, they come with an extended an extended pin like that, where it really can't do anything yet.
Yeah, so you have to pull the restrictor pin for the cylinder to be able to turn.
Right.
Yeah. Seen that in a lot of Russian style old revolvers that have that same sort of safety mechanism.
Now we got 3 people on and nobody watching.
Oh,
Not our
All
fault.
right.
We're trying to provide entertainment.
yeah. All right, we have to start being entertaining. And go. Ugh.
I've been doing my part since the beginning.
Hey, I've looked pretty, okay? That's what the co-host does, right?
Pretty okay?
I'm in trouble. Pretty, I am not.
Well, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the one who told me that full saying, so I don't buy that one anymore.
Well, so that full saying is not a roadmap.
Well, no, it was supposed to be. It was just supposed to be a funny saying. That's all.
Well,
Not really supposed
what
to
it
be
was
taken
supposed to be is
seriously.
you get those people that think they know better than you what you're doing, and you just after you've tried to tell them so many times what you're really doing, you just misdirect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a life theory like, hey, just baffle some people with bullshit if you don't have skill. That's not what it says.
Yeah,
It says
no.
you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. Because if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, they're not going to leave you the fuck alone anyway. So
Uh-huh.
do something that makes them leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Chad, do you see the pictures of Eli trying to drive?
No, I don't think I've seen those yet.
He drives about as well as my wife.
Well, I'm going to assume that he has a better excuse, though. He backed straight out of the driveway, right across into the neighbor's car.
Oh, you meant those. Oh, okay. I get it now. Yes, I did briefly see those. I didn't realize it had something to do with Eli.
Oh, yeah. That was
Oh,
Amanda's
gotcha.
post. She was like, Eli can't drive for shit.
Oh,
See, now the difference between
Oh,
Eli
shit.
and my wife would have missed the car and hit the house. So,
Well, and that's what I was saying. Like, Eli has got a better excuse.
my wife was giving my older boy grief for how he drives, which is terrible. But he's like, all right, there are 3 drivers in this room. By a show of hands, who's hit a building before?
Oh, boy.
So I've never hit a building. Witt's never hit a building. So my wife's like, yeah, okay. And then I was just like, by a show of hands, who here has hit more than one building?
Oh,
To be fair, my wife is half blind. So
she probably hears you outing her.
She uses that to her advantage anymore.
Right.
I have learned. Yeah.
That's not entertaining.
Sorry. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey. What did he call us? Mark said, "What's the haps?" after some more Spanish stuff. So I'm just gonna say, apparently Spanish lessons. What's that?
Well, I never took Spanish lessons, so who's the new guy? That's Chad.
Oh,
Yeah, he's not a new guy. He's
haven't been
not
on in
as
a while.
frequent of a visitor.
Haven't been on in a while.
He's the Netflix Joe.
The Make-A-Wish Joe.
No, the Netflix Joe. Because they always race swap everyone.
Oh.
Oh, well, there you go.
What?
You said embarazada is a common mistake. Spanish students will say it thinking they are saying embarrassed, but it actually means pregnant. And that's your Spanish lesson for the day. See? Now let's walk through this. Rich provided talent. I offered good looks, and Mark is giving Spanish lessons. So
Yeah, but you still haven't provided those good looks, so.
what are you talking about? Look at this.
Bring somebody else on because where do you expect you're going to get them from?
Until the camera breaks, I'm going to still claim it. Good looks. Oh, Mark's saying I'm funny looking.
I told Eli that too. When he wants to tell me he's funny, I'm like, yeah, funny looking.
I always tell my boys they're funny smelling.
Yeah, I do that too. I'm like, funny twice. Sometimes he's funny 3 times.
Oh, Lord.
Getting any more writing done, Mark? Nope. Seems like if we progress, you don't.
Ugh.
So things picking up at the shop, Chad?
Actually, they've been staying pretty steady. So, yeah, pretty much business as usual. I know. I'm doing what I need to do, so can't complain about that.
Mark, you need a standing desk so you never sit down. It'll solve all your problems.
Or to learn to dictate.
Yeah. Become a dictator.
Not the kind that Jewish Ford screens grow.
Well, I figure if every time you sit down, playtime is over. If you just stand, I mean, you'll seems logical to me. That's all I'm saying.
The heck?
What?
Sounds like a motorcycle going on.
Oh, there's a guy outside my house, and his bass is rumbling my entire building.
Oh. On my headset, it sounds like frickin' aliens are trying to communicate or something. I'm like, what the hell?
Now, about every night, we get some jackass that has to have his bass turned up. Like, he's got to be rearranging his own internal organs through this thing, because it rattles everything at my house. It's like, why?
It's because his boyfriend doesn't do a good enough job.
I guess.
Of rearranging his internal organs.
Maybe that's how you put them back. You just kind of, like when you have a pan of something, you want to get the air bubbles out, you shake it so everything settles. So maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. So I'm walking through the guidance offices yesterday because there's a shortcut. You can get around a lot of traffic if you know your way back through there. And one of the counselors has this sign on her door about how there's something inside every one of us that the world needs. And I was like, yeah, organs.
Yep. Those are helpful.
Yeah. And they're wanted the world over. So
Livers. Someone needs them.
Sometimes when I read stuff like that, I just think, you really should word this differently. Like, it's too easy to just twist it in the wrong way. But I guess it makes my life more enjoyable, so who cares?
Right, if you can't laugh at guidance counselors.
I think it's sad because, at least in Indiana, you no longer have to, like, you used to have been a teacher before you became a guidance counselor. And I always thought that was a pretty smart idea because, when they're going down and they give the line to the guidance counselor, it helps if they've had some experience dealing with actual students. But now, they've never been in a class. Like, as the teacher, they've never been there. And everyone thinks they know how classrooms work, but you don't know how the classroom works until you're the teacher. Like, you just... I've been a student. I've been a teacher. I can tell you right now, my thoughts and ideas of what teaching was like when I was the student is nothing like it really is. So, but that's why I kind of think counselors should, I guess, be former teachers. Oh, I just scared the crap out of myself. Ah. So I was going through and doing revisions on this story, and I was getting ready to reference something that I hadn't yet written, but I knew actually occurred earlier in the story. I just needed, I was going to do them on draft 2. Since I was referencing it now again, I thought, I should probably go back through and write that part. And because it's a dramatic change from what you and Jake saw, I decided to duplicate the file, call it volume 3 now, and work on that way I would have the original, right? Well, so then I was going through and I was making changes and copying and pasting stuff from the original and doing it into the duplicate where it fits better now and things like that. And then I thought for a moment I had done all the changes to the original and not on the duplicate, which, yeah, I can get back to and everything because you can always just hit Control Z, but man, I thought I had screwed.
As long as the document's open.
Well, yeah. Well, even because it's on Google Docs, it's got a revision history. I can go back pretty darn close to whatever, but I know for me, I like having my separate. Like, if I'm going to have a massive change, I want a whole nother copy of the file so I can go back to the original if need be, or to steal stuff out of the original that I've kind of deleted on the new one.
I'll be right back, Rich.
All right.
Oh, I don't know how much longer you're going to have me, Rich. Only because it's 10 o'clock and this is normally when the wife comes in and says, "Are you still streaming? I want to go to bed." It's not quite how she sounds, but, it's close.
Well,
that was fast.
Huh?
Oh, when he said he'd be right back, he's already back. So, like I said, fast.
well, you said that was fast, but I didn't know what that was.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm back.
See?
Welcome back.
Fast.
Yeah, let's have to grab some.
You want some more, Chad? Or drink it?
Yes.
No, I did smart earlier. More of doing some research on some stuff. Having a couple beers, but so yes, on the second.
You want to hear a slightly off-color joke about beer?
Sure.
What does American beer and Sex on the Beach have in common?
No idea.
They're both fucking about right. Oh. I can't even say it. They're both fucking next to water. I didn't say it was a good joke.
Yeah.
Well, he said slightly off color. I was waiting for the off color.
Well, when he
F word.
yeah, well, when he said slightly off color, I was expecting something like, well, it's gold. Like, you know,
No. Oh.
no, no, it's like, you know, no. Instead, it turned out to be like, you know, sex while camping, fucking intense.
Yeah.
Right? I was expecting it to be like the greatest Irish airplane disaster.
The hell was that?
2 planes Cessna went down in Dublin Cemetery. They've been recovering bodies all night. They'll continue in dawn. Continue past dawn. It's expected to continue well past dawn.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Well, we both screwed them up, but you know, that's the off color thing I was thinking. So this is still a base coat, but it's a base coat that shows me where the axe is. As well as the sword, but the sword actually is not so much of a base coat. I'm going to do a little bit of reflection from the water in there once I decide whether I want to reflect the orange or reflect maybe the blood. But this right now is just giving me something that I can go in and detail later. And advancing. So he's a Netflix Joe, not the real Joe. The real Joe can tell off-color jokes.
Oh God! So the dog was out in the yard the other day, and she was eating grass, and my son saw her, and he started calling her Timu goat. Because you know all the crappy,
Gotcha.
you know, team. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He's always telling her that she looks like some other, like something else. Like he'll be like, "You look like a polar bear," because she's all white, or "You look like a seal," or whatever. Sometimes potato.
Polar bear potato?
Well, when you put her ears back, it kind of looks like a polar bear, and when she's all curled up, she kind of looks like a potato.
Well, potatoes are significantly less furry than polar bears.
Yeah, but you can actually our dog's fur is pretty thin. I mean, she's a pit bull, so you know, short hair, and you can see like the spots on her skin underneath her fur. So it kind of looks like a potato skin. a really pale one, but
I guess I don't see how they could be both, but I see how you can say
well,
maybe it looks like a potato head.
when she's curled up and all you see is her back, looks pretty smooth, but splotchy like a potato, and it's roughly potato shaped because she's curled up. But when she looks like a polar bear or a seal, it kind of depends on where her ears are and how she looks. So, she is what she is.
Well,
Yeah.
of course it is. That's a pretty blanket statement.
Oh. Well, I don't know if you noticed it got dark here. It's because somebody just turned off my light. Which kind of means I gotta go, Rich. Oh. I will
A good one.
probably see you on Saturday, right?
Probably.
All right. Talk to you later, guys.
Have a good night, man. And then there were two.
Yeah, there've been two for a long time now, just not these particular two.
Ah.
That's okay. You know, I invited you on because I like your company, so. But normally you're doing some kind of artwork too, so that's not the same this time.
No. A little bit of break. Thinking about, well, not really thinking about anything. Trying to decompress, I guess. Think about other things other than, life shit. Oh, what the heck? Let's check out brown owls. What the hell is it?
What's that?
Oh, checking out brown owls for the hell of it. See if there's anything interesting that tickles my fancy. Well, nice to see that still hasn't come out. Nice.
So Brett's out Thursday because it's his wife's birthday.
Ah, well, that's the
That's
reason.
why I asked if you wanted to go those Thursday.
Yeah, I should be able to do that. I don't have anything going on that I know of. That's for the heck of it. Well, that went up quite a bit. Jeez. I don't think I would pay over $2,000 for an AK. That's a little nuts.
Really, an SKS, right?
Huh?
I said, really, an SKS, right?
Well. Fires the same round, yeah. So, realistically.
Well, an SKS is a non-automatic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so essentially, yes. Yeah, no, that's a. No, I'm good. Now, who the hell? Now, who the hell would want a frickin' 240 Bravo in semi-auto? I mean, come on, really?
Did you see the last female warrior one that I did?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Because she's pretty much got a lot of depth to her, too. Took a
Yeah.
long time to get there, though. It just was a different kind of depth. Well, different kind of setting.
Yeah.
This is a more... No, that one was more about the firelight and the drama. There's quite a bit of depth to it. You see the mountain that I got put in at the end, and
Yeah.
mountain trees and the stone and all that. I think there's some stonework in there too. If you want. It's gonna go across here. So. I think we're pretty close to number of what I can do for the night before I start going into a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm hanging out for a few 2 hours and what's gone. Let's see. Preserve this paint till next time, Thursday. It's been pretty good. Like if I spritz it with water, and kind of spritz it with water at least once a day. Usually, it's still pretty malleable at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
And I can go back in and rework it. Yeah, let's see. Give the slow scan of the whole thing. Yeah, the canyon walls, that's something I wanted to do. I'm gonna turn off a couple of these lights and see. They show a little bit better sometimes that way. See the difference?
Oh yeah.
They're not quite. It's not quite as bright as it looks.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be as bright as it looks.
Yeah, with the
But I
lights.
do when I'm working on it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, with the lights make it look warmer.
right.
Yeah.
Well, they make it look brighter is what they do. It's not as it's a little bit darker than you see on screen. Like this is all this is a reflection of light that makes it look brighter than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a different method. So for this method, I used masking fluid on her and on the serpent and on the mountains, well, the canyon walls. But then when I pulled it off, it made a mess of a lot of stuff. So what I learned from it is, like, first of all, I learned that you have to really mix it up before you apply it. And then you have to apply it pretty thinly. You really can't coat thick paint on top of it because when you peel it up, it peels the paint.
That makes sense.
And I'm still kind of recovering from that a little bit. I'm trying to cover up stuff that paint peeled. That's what I was working on with the axe. That's why it was so important to get that base in there, because when I peeled up the mask over the axe, some of the paint from the sky and clouds fell in on it and kind of marred it.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to end the stream and I'll talk to you for a few minutes afterwards, all right?
Yep.
Yeah, so anyone that's watching or has been watching, thanks. If you like it, hit like, subscribe. Let us know if you like the content that's going in. Good night. God bless. Love y'all.